Yeah.
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I wanted to bring you a review of the latest film from A24, and that is We Live in Time, directed by John Crowley, starring Andrew Garfield and Florence Pugh. This follows Tobias, played by Andrew Garfield, and Almut, played by Florence Pugh, and their decade-spanning relationship, all the way from its inception, through their own personal struggles, through parentship, and through Almut's eventual cancer battle that she has. And this movie, I wanted to check out at TIFF, but the prices were too expensive, so I kind of had to, cross that off the list. And I knew it was coming out soon enough, so I got a chance to see it at the AMC in Lincoln Square, which is just one of the most beautiful venues I've ever been to. Really, I was blown away by that theater. Please, if you're in New York, be sure to check that place out because you won't be disappointed. And I was definitely looking forward to this movie. Been hearing very good things overall. And John Crowley is a filmmaker who's garnered some acclaim, of course, for Brooklyn, from almost 10 years ago, starring Saoirse Ronan, which got in at the Oscars. And of course, he is teaming with writer Nick Payne this time to bring his vision to the screen, this romantic drama, if you will. And I will say that this movie is quite enjoyable overall. I think this has the making of a really, truly great romantic drama, but I think falls short in some aspects. But let's talk about what is great about this movie. And I think far and away, the best thing that you're going to come away from this movie appreciating is the performances from Andrew Garfield and Florence Pugh. Their chemistry is off the charts, so electric, and leads to some of the steamiest and hottest sex scenes of the entire year. These guys are just absolutely impeccable on screen together, and you really definitely feel a great sense of affection that they have for each other off screen as well, but it really does shine through and through, and I think they really make this movie work to the level that it does, and both of them raise it above a lot of the narrative shortcomings that this film may have. I think there's so many great scenes between the two of them, some very frank and honest conversations that I'm sure we've all been through at some point when we were in a relationship, right? And definitely seeing these two get to know each other is so beautiful, and just to see them form this very strong bond is what really makes this movie as watchable as it is. Now, my biggest thing about this movie is the structure. Because the title is called We Live in Time, I guess Payne decided that it would be wise to tell the story out of narrative sequence, which, after seeing the film, I suppose that was done so it wouldn't follow the same beats that we've seen in other romantic dramas, but it ultimately feels a bit futile and sort of feels like a gimmick because it really isn't adding anything to the story. Not like a film like Strange Darling, for instance, where you definitely felt that story being told out of narrative sequence was integral to the structure of the film itself. This is certainly not the case at all, and it's really kind of puzzling why that was a decision that was made going into writing this film. But what I do think this film has is a lot of great collective moments, and maybe that's the point. It's like a scattershot album, if you will, and a couple scenes that really stand out to me. One involving a gas station, I'll say that, maybe the best scene in the movie, and definitely a scene near the end between Florence Pugh and Andrew Garfield. You'll probably know what scene I'm talking about when you finally watch the movie, or if you've seen the film already, yeah, it's that one. So I definitely think that this film is more than worth seeing, and it's definitely an easy breezy watch. I definitely enjoyed a lot of the character stuff and a lot of the drama that went into this, but ultimately I definitely feel like the screenplay lacks a bit of cohesion that could have made this, even tighter film. And I also think one of my issues with it is there'd be a very, very emotionally powerful moment that had they lingered on it more, it would have felt so emotionally resonant, but then they just cut away from it. And it's like, really, did you need to do that? Because you had me there with the drama. Now, some could argue that perhaps if they lingered on it too long, it would have become, too sentimental or mawkish. But even so, I think the writing itself, like for the characters and the dialogue, is so good that I don't think it would have mattered too much, if I'm being entirely honest. And I definitely thought some of the needle drops in the soundtrack were just a little bit generic, and I didn't really like how they played into the film. It just didn't feel like it fit right for me personally. And yeah, there's just some moments that felt perhaps a bit unnecessarily contrived. Not the worst, contrivances that you'll see, of course, but I definitely felt like it could have been resolved in a more natural and meaningful way beforehand. So, regardless, I do think that this is a film that you should see. It's definitely going to be a tearjerker for some. I admit there was a scene where I did get pretty close, and there was someone we ran into after the theater who was so profoundly moved by it. He was like breaking down just talking to us about it. So it definitely is going to strike a chord with a lot of people, especially if anybody has gone through a lot of the stuff that these characters are going through in this film in particular. But yeah, I'm going to give We Live in Time a 7 out of 10. As I said, see this movie for its excellent leads more than anything. These two are two of the best actors of their respective generations, and they absolutely deserve all the praise that's coming their way. I've also realized after watching Andrew Garfield in this movie that I need to enter my sweater era. Because, man, he can pull it off. And it was just kind of funny watching him through the whole movie because his character really reminded me of myself in the way he would react to certain things. And shout out to my man Andrew Garfield, just one of the best guys in the business. I hope you're doing well, man. Same to you as well, Florence. And congratulations on quite a good film. And yeah, let me know what you guys thought about We Live in Time down in the comments below. Did you love this film? Did you cry? I mean, that's probably the biggest question I want to know more than anything. But also, please smash the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see more movie reviews like this. My next one is definitely going to be an early review of Steve McQueen's Blitz before it hits Apple TV. I think sometime later this year. So please be on the lookout for that and so much more. And I'll talk to you guys soon.